Welcome to episode 1 of the Break Free from the BS podcast. I am so unbelievably excited to be finally releasing this episode. When I tell you guys, I have been sitting on this podcast idea for so long, and I'm going to admit it to you. And almost nightly, I've been recording voice notes into my phone of my thoughts and being like, Louise, you need to share this with the world, girl. And just like I'm going to be helping you guys, I had to unpick the parts of me that were just stopping me from going for it and realizing that I had some amazing stuff to share with you guys. So that is what this podcast is all about. So the podcast is called Break Free from the BS. And the first thing you might think of when I say BS is bullshit. And it does represent that, as well as it's a double-edged sword, guys, as well as belief systems, and more specifically, limiting belief systems. This podcast is coming directly from my brain into your ears. And I'm so excited about that because when I tell you, I have been struggling. I've been fighting for my life trying to fit my thoughts into 3 minutes or less on that app. Anything over 3 minutes and it only gets shown to people that follow you. It doesn't go any wider than that, and that is just not good enough. So that's one of the main motivating factors for me starting this podcast, is wanting to get this message out as far as I can. I truly believe that is my purpose on this earth, and it feels so good to say that, and we're going to get into that so much more on another episode. But right now, I am just stoked to be here. So this podcast is here to challenge you. It's here to hopefully help change you where you want to change. Change is inevitable, so we can either choose the direction we're changing in or it gets chosen for us. We'll go into that in full on another episode too. And the third thing is entertained. Now, what I don't want this to feel like is some stuffy, hard to listen to, boring self-development work. I want to unpick the parts of your brain that have been stuck for so long in the most fun and entertaining way I can, in the most exciting and engaging way I can. And I truly want it to be a pleasure for you to come here and listen to this every week. And it to be a joyful thing that you get to do as part of your routine that slowly helps you step into the life that you absolutely fucking deserve. That excites me so much. I can't even tell you. Okay, I am giddy right now. So I promise those 3 things, that you will either be challenged, changed, or at the very least entertained. And with that promise, I hope that you can help me hit the ground running. Subscribe if you love this first episode. Tell your fucking friends about me. Let's see how far we can cast the net, even from just one episode. So I hope you know that the very act of me starting this podcast is me walking the walk, okay? I am taking my own medicine. I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid, okay? So this is terrifying for me, but it's also really exciting, and that is what this is all about. Now, I wanted to start with a bang. I wanted to make sure that the first time you dialed into my brain here with you, that you leave with something you can absolutely find benefit in. And I truly believe that whoever you are listening to me right now, this can benefit you. Now, this actually came to me just 2 nights ago, and I honestly think it's been the final domino in kicking me to get this podcast started, because I feel like it's a genuine disservice to not share this with people, because I think this can change. I genuinely think this can change your life, and it has changed mine. So I hadn't Like, I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know a good way to communicate what I was doing. And I'm not even saying this is like a truly original thought. Who knows? But it certainly makes sense to my brain. It's like an amalgamation of so many things happening in my life to come to this model that I'm about to talk about with you, this tool. I don't really know what to call it yet. This is literally 2 days fresh out of my brain, as I say. Before we talk about what the tool is, I want to talk about what its purpose is. Now, this tool came to me because we all have thoughts that are anxious thoughts. They might just be general worry. They might be fear, right? There's like a sliding scale as to what that looks like. And I also am aware that there's a sliding scale in terms of like severity and regularity of those thoughts. But I think anywhere you sit on that spectrum, and anywhere the level goes from like a mild worry to like full body fear, I think this would actually really help any of that. Now, to explain this tool, I am going to use a real example from my life. I'm in Sri Lanka, right? My friends decided to surf at a certain break that day, and I shoot in water surf photography, and it was an amazing opportunity to get like a brand new type of wave for me. I'm like, oh God, okay, I really want to do it. And then the part of my brain that lends me this view of fear goes, sorry, what? Are you fucking kidding me? There's saltwater crocodiles in this water, Louise. Absolutely not. We're not going in there. Terrible idea. Right? Now, that is my, if you want to get scientific, that is my amygdala kicking in, right? That is the part of me that is made to keep me safe. That is my fight or flight or freeze. That is that kicking in. But what we need to consider about that part of our brain is that is biologically there to keep us safe and live as long a life as we can. However, the actual rate in which we need that true fight or flight has drastically reduced in modern times. And when we're talking in the scheme of like how long humans have been on Earth for, a tiny percentile, we have been pretty safe, pretty comfortable, not in a major need of having fight or flight kick off every single day, right? Whereas, cavemen era us, they were prey, to some predators. So they had to be aware of predators. They had to think about how they were sourcing their food every single day. It like literally almost all of their life was survival, right? Whereas for us now, we're pretty cushy. Most people, not saying all, but most people can go and buy the food they want from a supermarket. They can feed themselves, they're safe, they're in a home, but that doesn't stop them from having this mad anxious brain because it is natural. It is the part of your brain trying to keep you safe. So how do we help that part of the brain adjust to a modern world where it's not required quite as much as it used to be required? How do we update that part of our brain? So this tool that I've come up with is just 4 steps, and you can remember it because it's an acronym, and the acronym is LEAD, which is really fucking ironic because this is effectively what your brain needs in that moment is a leader. That voice that you can hear that's like terrified or, mildly worried, as I say, is not you. Because it's a voice, so you're observing it. You are the observer, okay? So let's like first agree that if I'm observing it, then scientifically it can't be me because I'm observing it. So that's the first thing to understand. Now, when we know that it's not us and it wants what's best for us, it wants to keep us safe, keep us protected, why wouldn't we listen to it? Okay, so step 1, the L of lead, listen. So just take a beat, take 2 minutes to give yourself the time and the space, because you're either going to ruminate in anxiety for like the next however long, could be weeks for some events, right? Or you're going to just spend a couple of minutes listening to yourself, being present with yourself, listen to the thought. In that moment, and by the way, I've named my anxious part of my brain. I've named it Anxious Alice. Sorry to any Alices out there. Anxious Alice, right? So when Anxious Alice crops up now, I'm like, cool. And I don't catch her every time. Sometimes she sneaks in. She's like a fucking ninja, right? But Every time you do catch it is a good thing, and we'll talk a bit more about that in a sec. But so anxious Alice pipes up, absolutely fucking not, Louise. There's saltwater crocodiles. We are not going in there, right? Step one, listen. I'm just letting the thought play out, and I'm going, and I'm observing it, and I'm genuinely listening to her like I would listen to a person that stood in front of me if they were anxious. I wouldn't shut them down. I wouldn't be like, what are you moaning about? I'd be like, oh, talk to me, goose. So I do the same for anxious Alice. What's up? Observe, listen. The second step, the E, empathize. Listen, empathize. So rather than me go against Alice immediately, I'm going to be like, thank you. Thanks for flagging that fear, because you're just trying to keep me safe. So I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. That does sound pretty scary. And do you know what? Like, you're probably right, Alice. If I get out there and I come face to face with a saltwater crocodile, I'm fucked, right? There are many animals that I feel I could edge my bet in having a fight with. Saltwater crocodile, like a kilometre off the shore, absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. I think I'd rather fight a shark. Anyway, you know, it's a valid fear that Alice is having. Step 3, A, assess. Assess/ask questions. So I'm now going to work with Alice to assess the situation. How many people do you think have been attacked by saltwater crocodiles here? Do you think that's going to be a high number? Like, has anyone ever died by a crocodile here? Is that a thing? Are there even saltwater crocodiles this time of year? When do they come out? Turns out it's after heavy rainfall, right? Now, some of the time, this is going to be knowledge that you already know, but Alice has just forgotten that you know. So you might be able to be like, already Googled it earlier, mate. Bang it out. Or you might go, so let's go find that out together. Whip your phone out, have a little Google, ask a friend, you know, whatever you need to do in that moment, get whatever you need, ask the questions you need, assess the situation with Alice, okay? And then your D, which is your step 4 of lead, is either then decide it or drop it. So if you do that assessment and you go, okay, so it turns out no one has ever been attacked by a saltwater crocodile on this beach. Never in the history of the internet recordings. Right? So I'd have to be incredibly unlucky. I'm a very lucky girl. So I'd have to be really unlucky to be the one person in history that gets eaten by a saltwater crocodile today. So it might be that. It might be that my friend told me, which is what I did actually get told on the day, was, oh yeah, they tend to only be in the sea if there's been heavy rainfall. We've not had rain for like blah, blah, blah amount of days. And I'm like, cool. So the odds of one even being here are like slim to none. They're in the rivers. So by doing that, I can then decide, okay, it's done. We're going to do it. Thank you for flagging it to me. So I'm going to thank Alice. Super valid fear. However, upon assessment, this is something I'm going to do. Thank you very much. Stand down. And I'm doing the thing. And I'm doing it with the knowledge and the certainty that this is what I want to do. That is amazing, right? And the opposite of that might be that I Google and someone was attacked by a crocodile on this beach yesterday. And if that happens, I might go, do you know what? I'm going to sit this one out. Actually, I've decided, I've assessed the situation. Thanks for flagging to me, Alice, because fair. You must have had a good intuitive feeling though, because someone was literally attacked here yesterday. We're not going in. And I can happily walk away from that situation knowing my intuition possibly just saved my bacon. So there is literally no right or wrong answer. We are simply noticing the anxious thought. We are then empathizing with whatever that anxious Alice is feeling. Little Louise, monkey mind, whatever you want to call it. Just empathize with them. Okay? And then we're going to assess the situation. We're going to ask whatever questions we need to ask. And then we are going to either decide it and do it and go for it. Or we're going to drop it and walk away and be happy because our intuition sorted us right out. And the beauty of this tool is, as I say, there is no right and wrong answer, which is amazing because when we use this tool, we are either teaching that amygdala part of our brain, teaching anxious Alice, when this thing crops up again, we're probably fine and I don't need you. And it might still happen for a few times, but the more I go, cool, assess, no, I'm all good, thanks though, thanks for flagging, the more Alice will file in her little filing system, okay, we're no longer scared of swimming in the sea with saltwater crocodiles in Sri Lanka. Sweet. And it will stand down. We normally absolutely lean into the catastrophizing that our brain is absolutely on one with. Alice is going mental and we're like, oh my God, alongside her, right? Oh my God, I'm going to swim out and then I'm going to get death rolled out there. My camera's going to get eaten. Like, that's what we normally do. So all we're trying is just stopping before that happens and just sitting with the thought, empathizing with it, assessing it, and then deciding what to do with it. That is a far easier place to be in, okay? So we're going to either teach her to stand down, or the flip side of that is we're going to create space for what the amygdala is actually for, which is saving our asses. The calmer my brain is day to day, the more present I am in my life, because I'm not always in anxiety, which is there in front of me, or I'm not regretting or worrying about the past, which is behind me. I'm not spending time in either of those places. And I am so happy to do lots of different examples of this framework in use with like loads of different reasons, because this can apply to not just like fear, like I was having there. This could be, I don't know, I want to speak up, but I'm too nervous to be seen, to be heard. I love walking home from work, but I'm afraid that I'm going to be attacked in the dark. Right? Like, there are very real fears that we have to deal with as human beings, and there's a sliding scale. But when we look at some examples, there might be a genuine need for that fear. And then there's going to be times where it's not needed. And the more that we can train that part of our brain when it's not needed, the more space we create for when we actually need it to get us out of the shit. It is sharp, it is there, and it will serve its purpose. It will serve the biological reason that it's there. So, just picture this as an example. You're driving down the motorway and someone's tire blows in the lane next to you. If you are in that moment so wrapped up in inside anxious thoughts, you're like catastrophizing something already in your brain, you're barely there concentrating. And I know this happens because it's 100% has happened to me, where I arrive somewhere and I'm like, I cannot remember that journey. I was so in my head that I can't even remember where I've just driven. I clearly got here safe. So if you've ever had that feeling, that's because you're not living in the present moment. You are somewhere else in your brain, okay? So the more we can teach the brain to be quiet by actually considering what it's bringing to us when it brings something. So when Alice is going, excuse me, waving a banner, the more I can go, hey, what's up? And actually have the conversation and deal with it within minutes, the more present I'm going to be. So that when I'm driving down the motorway and someone blows a tyre next to me and I'm fully present, my amygdala can fucking kick in, decision making can become lightning fast, and I keep myself alive in that moment. Or I'm surfing and, I don't know, I come off the board dodgy and break an arm. Like, I'm able to be fully present in those actual life and death moments because I've trained my brain to be as quiet as possible outside of them. That's like the long-term gift here, and that no one is going to be perfect. If anyone tells me they never have an anxious thought that runs away with them or da-da-da-da, like, don't believe you. Sorry. Denied. Like, we're human beings. It's human thought. It is biology. And also, I saw an amazing interview with Alex Honnold, the guy that climbed El Capitan. And he also raises a really great point in, like, do more shit that's actually scary. Because he basically talks about people in airports being like so on edge. And he's like, you're literally in a climate controlled environment. You've got access to food. You're safe. You're about to go on a holiday, but you're just like, flapping around the place, constantly worried about being in the next spot and not being on time, in anxiety. And he's like, you guys actually need to just start exposing yourself to more genuine amygdala firing things where you are actually having to manage real, like, visceral physical fear. The more you do that, the less the small stuff bothers you. I mean, win-win, guys. Win-win. So that is a very, I would say brief, but I think fairly chunky introduction into that new tool that I am going to be harping on about because, yeah, in fact, I would love to get some examples from you guys on fears, worries, anxieties that you currently have. You can send them anonymously if you need to, or I can speak about them anonymously. You make a burner email if you need to. But it's a safe space. You can let me know whether you want it to be anonymous or not. But if you have a fear or a worry or like something that is taking you out of being in the present moment often, then let's talk about it and let me help apply that model and where I might see some examples there. Challenge me, guys. Let's fucking do it, because I really want to test this theory because I genuinely think that is life-changing. Lead. So easy to remember. Listen, empathize, assess, then fucking decide it. And I think a cherry on top of the decide it would then be Uno fucking reversing your brain to go, cool. So not only are we doing it, I think it's going to be one of the best experiences of my life. I'm going to get surf shots that I've never got before. I have never shot on a reef break in tropical waters. This is going to be life-changing. And so it will be. The universe will reward you with evidence to support what your thought is. And that's what's so fucking important about this tool, is that if I'm swimming out with riddled with anxiety, against the will, or actually the worst thing, just tap out, don't do the experience. And by the way, it was life-changing. I'm going to slap some shots up somewhere to be like, that's what's linked to this podcast, because I got some killer shots and I would never have got them had I not had that conversation with myself. And I didn't get eaten by a saltwater croc. So fucking yeehaw. That's basically what I want you to understand, is the severity of why this is so important, because every single time you let that anxious brain run away and stop you from living your actual life, your one trip round in this skin suit that you've got, that's actually a real implication, because and we'll go into this fully on another episode, but you have to remember your thoughts create your feelings create your actions create your life. So if you are not at base camp with the thoughts and truly making sure that you work with those thoughts and you don't just blindly ignore them and let them turn into feelings are then much harder to manage than the thought. Okay, so once you're in the feelings, once you feel the fear, once you feel the anger, that's much harder to navigate your way out of than stopping the thought and having a conversation with the thought, the you that is actually just asking for attention. So the more you do that, the more you're going to flex that muscle and the better you're going to get at it. And truly thinking it's going to change your life. And that feels like the perfect place to end episode 1, which is insane. That has gone so quickly. I don't even know how long it is. I'm currently using the most ratchet setup. I'm literally recording this into Premiere Pro. Help me. I don't know what I'm doing. But I just had to get these thoughts out. So I'm hoping this sounds okay. I am so freaking excited for episode 2 already, and to not have to try and contain my thoughts into 3 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please, please, please leave a comment or subscribe if you have enjoyed it. This is literally my first attempt, first time. I'm just completely winging it right now. And then just a final reminder, I would absolutely love to hear some of your anxieties or fears. So you can email me on louise@breakfreefromthebs.com. And as I say, you can be anonymous, you can share your anxieties and fears and minor worries with pride. I am happy for either, and I will definitely use some of them in future episodes. So all that is left to say for now is thank you if you got to this point. That's fucking exciting. And I very much look forward to seeing you next time. Big love.